Hey guys, before we go ahead and get started with the video, I want to take this time to shout out 5 of my YouTube membership members. They are going to be Soda Slime, Manolo Dave Scrib TV, Omar Zaragoza, Daryl Lechu, and Resparza22. Thank you guys again so much for your support on my YouTube memberships. Guys, if you want to be a part of YouTube memberships, it only costs 99 cents per month. You will gain access to a special badge next to your name whenever you comment on my videos or my video premieres. You guys will have access to exclusive emotes only available on YouTube memberships. You guys will be randomly shouted out amongst 4 other people on videos that I upload. And last but certainly not least, you guys will automatically be entered into a monthly $15 gift card giveaway that I'll be doing at the end of every month, all exclusively to my YouTube membership members. All of that for 99 cents per month. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. What's up everybody, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel, back with another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. In today's video, we're going to be continuing my The Art of series. This time we're focusing on The Art of Laguna from Final Fantasy VIII. Laguna will be receiving the debut of his LD and burst weapons, his C90, and as well as his rework. We're going to summarize everything and then go over a little bit of gameplay with the character on my JP account. Before we move forward with the video, I do want to remind you guys to not only watch my videos, but also the rest of the fantastic content creators out there for Dissidia Opera Omnia, as well as utilizing your resources such as the Compendium, the DB, Tarnberry Troop, and all that good stuff. So then that way you guys can also formulate your own educated decision on whether or not you will invest in these characters that I talk about in these videos. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into The Art of Laguna. So a little bit of overview for those of you that might have forgotten or haven't used Laguna in a long time, because it's been a while since he's gotten an upgrade. Laguna is a range damage dealer, and he specializes in debuffs to enemy stats. Pretty simple, but we're going to take a look at what his rework and all that good stuff gave him from what he's going to be getting soon in Global Opera Omnia, because it definitely amps up what this character should be doing. So to start things off with his reworks on both his Skill 1 and Skill 2, they're both very simple reworks. Both his Skill 1 Grenade and also his Skill 2 Shotgun now deal more brave hits with a higher potency, and they both will be dealing 2 HP attacks. Grenade will be dealing 2 AoE HP attacks with split HP damage, while Shotgun will be dealing 2 HP attacks with HP splash damage. So pretty simple reworks, just more damage, which is pretty much what he needed. His C65 is going to be getting a C88 extension for debuff damage up. So this now has a longer turn duration. It now provides brave damage up when attacking a debuff target, and it also provides brave damage cap up. His EX, Ragnarok Buster, will be receiving its C85 extension, now having a higher brave potency with the brave hits, and this time it'll be dealing 4 HP attacks with HP splash damage. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the 2 new attacks that he's going to be getting. Starting off with his LD. His LD is called Ragnarok Blade. This deals 4 AoE HP attacks with split HP damage. It grants him a free skill usage on his next turn for either his Skill 1, Skill 2, or C65. It grants him a brand new unique buff called Look, the Fairies Are Here, and it also inflicts his Coochie Coochie treatment unique debuff to all enemies. His LD buff, Look, the Fairies Are Here, provides him with attack up, HP damage up and stolen, max brave overflow up, and it also allows him to trigger a follow-up attack after he deals HP damage, and this follow-up attack pretty much deals 2 AoE HP attacks with split HP damage. So that's pretty cool, because now anytime Laguna presses any type of skill that deals HP damage, he's going to be dealing more damage on top of that, which makes him a lot more consistent. His LD debuff, called Coochie Coochie Treatment, inflicts attack down, defense down, and HP damage resist down. The debuff potency is dependent on the amount of debuffs on enemies. So the more debuffs you have on enemies, the more potent this debuff is going to be. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about his BT Plus effect, which is called Desperado. So Desperado inflicts a golden unique debuff called Desperado. This debuff inflicts defense down and HP damage resist down, and it will trigger an HP trap attack after a turn. The HP damage is based on Laguna's attack stat. So the higher the stat, the more damage this is going to deal. This also provides party brave damage cap up, and it also provides party HP damage cap up, and the potency of the HP damage cap up is dependent on the amount of debuffs on enemies. So again, The more debuffs there are on enemies, the more potent the HP damage cap up will be for your entire party. So, what are my thoughts on Laguna? So he's far more powerful and potent as a debuffer. Before he was, I almost want to say he was kind of a meme. He wasn't that good, and he finally got a very, very worthy upgrade with his rework, C90, and brand new weapons, making him way better than he was before. His damage output is now pretty solid because he now has the additional follow-up, provided you have the LD buff active, and also his trap attack damage if you have his BT effect up and having dealt damage with his BT finisher. He has access to the valuable HP damage cap up with his BT effect, enabling greater damage output for the party. You can stack this with other BT effects that have this and just run to town with the amount of damage that you could do with all this HP damage cap up stacking. I would say you want to run him with characters who provide Brave Refund and more auras to amp up his damage output. Laguna himself doesn't have self Brave Refund, so you might want to consider running him with that. And then if you run him with other debuffers, I would say aim to use him with debuffers who have access to ones that he doesn't apply, so you could take advantage of his powerful BT effect and his new LD debuff, because both the BT effect and the LD debuff, they get more potent again the more debuffs you have. And Laguna, I believe, applies 5 debuffs, so you definitely want another debuffer or another party member who can at least take care of some other debuffs that Laguna doesn't apply. For example, Laguna doesn't have a debuff that does sap, for example, so maybe you want to bring a character that does that, or maybe you want to have a character that does like HP poison or something like that. So whatever kind of debuffs that Laguna doesn't inflict, you would probably want to run that said character, so then that way you're really racking up the amount of benefits that you could get from his BT effect and as well as that LD debuff. And then later on, I will say that his unique Golden Trap debuff is very useful moving into the Shinryu era for added damage used with the Force Gauge, because the more off-turn damage you have, the greater it will be whenever that Force Gauge percentage goes up. And this is the case with somebody like Laguna. And remember, his BT effect debuff is golden, meaning enemies cannot dispel it or cleanse it. It's stuck until the duration of it expires, so it's really, really powerful. And then I will say that his BT phase theme is gonna always get you pumped and dancing, because it's freaking Man with the Machine Gun, and that's one of the most energized themes, I would say, in all of Final Fantasy. So he has one of the coolest theme songs when it comes to his BT phase. So that's all in all my summary and thoughts on Laguna, and covering what he gets with his rework C90 as well as his 2 brand new weapons. Again, I encourage you guys to check out the other YouTubers that make content on this game, as well as utilize your resources. Don't just listen to me. Be sure to formulate your own educated decision on whether or not you're going to pull for this character. But if you guys ask me, I think Laguna is really good. I still use him to this day on my JP account, even if it's just for using his BT effect and then getting him out of there and taking advantage of that off-turn damage. He's just really, really solid. Really, really good overall. Got a really good upgrade. Now we're going to go ahead and go into some gameplay. As you can see right here, I'm taking a Final Fantasy VIII team to do this demo with. Let's just go ahead and delay these enemies with a Cypher Call with Squall. And then we'll go over like the ideal rotation, if you guys want to call it that, as far as how to play as Laguna, especially if you decide to go with his BT finisher, if you have him in your party. And something that I do want to mention is that you can actually take advantage of how good Laguna is, even with just a Laguna friend. So assuming you have some friends on your friends list that have Laguna as their friend unit, you can take advantage of what Laguna brings to the table with just the friend unit itself. And even his call is really good too. So again, great upgrades that this character got. So assuming you've invested fully in this character and you're like, I want to go into his BT phase, what's the quote-unquote rotation? Well, the first thing that I like to do is use his BT finisher, because we will have that golden debuff, and we'll also have his BT effect active. Something to note is that Laguna will have his 3-frame debuffs automatically inflicted on enemies. So at the start of the wave, you will have those debuffs active, and as you can see right there, there is the golden debuff. All right, so with Selfie, let's just go into Rapture, because why not? Alright, let's get into the launch damage here. And then And as you can see right there, we triggered the trap attack with the golden debuff. So it triggers after a turn. And let's just use this to get them further delayed. So we've gone ahead and used Laguna's BT finisher. We've set that up. And then I will show you the next thing that I want to set up when we go into his before we go into his actual BT phase. Assuming again, if you want the most optimum setup, damage efficiency, and all that good stuff with Laguna. Okay. And with Squall, let's just use skill 2. Doesn't really matter. This is all about Laguna. All right. And actually, if you think about it, having Selfie's debuff active during a BT phase is pretty powerful in itself, because look how much damage we're already doing. Okay, so now that we have the BT finisher active, what you could do now is I'll just C65, because why not? All right, and then what I like to do is go into LD, because Laguna will not have his LD buff active. You need to press LD to have it on. And that way we also now have access to his follow-up attack, which you see that it triggered right there. And let's count how many debuffs are on enemies now. So there are a total of, I think that's 8. That's 8 debuffs. So we have the maximum amount of debuffs active. So we're taking advantage of the full potency right now of his BT effect, as well as the LD debuff. So it's pretty cool to see all of this in action. All right, with Selfie, let's just go with her skill 1. I just forgot the name of it, but whatever. This video is all about Laguna. Okay. And as you can see, whenever we take a turn and deal damage, that trap is going off from that golden debuff. All right. Here we go. And calls that you may want to consider on Laguna, or maybe characters that can give him again the said Brave Refund, since he doesn't have his own self Brave Refund. So that could be something that you want to consider. All right, so the reason why I went into LD was because I wanted the free skill usage. So now we are set up, and we're gonna go right into Burst. So what I like to do here is use the free skill usage on either his skill 1 or skill 2. In this case, I will go with the skill 2. While they both deal 2 HP attacks, skill 2 has more brave hits, so you will be dealing a little bit more damage with that. Alright. There we go. And then right after that, let's just go into his EX. Alright, there goes his EX. And again, this is a lot of damage that we're racking up here. Because we have the maximum amount of debuffs. His BT effect is up. So that LD debuff is at its highest potency, and the BT effect is at its highest potency. So now what I like to do is go right back into the LD. So then that way next turn he gets another free skill usage, which we're going to be using on Shotgun. And we're probably going to be taking out this Lufenia fight here for this demonstration. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to go into Shotgun. So much damage that we're dealing here. Okay. So now one enemy is left. Shotgun again, and then grenade, and then we'll get to see the finisher one more time. So we don't have the burst effect active, but that's okay. We're still dealing a lot of damage. Like, this is still a ton of damage that we're dealing. Alright. And I know I said earlier in the video that the trap attack is based on Laguna's attack. If you want the percentage, I believe it's 500% of his attack. So whatever his attack stat is, you know, take 500% of that. That's the potency of the trap attack that he deals with his golden debuff. Alright, and now it's time to go right into his finisher again. And that's pretty much going to be your quote-unquote rotation with Laguna. Assuming that you have him fully built, burst finisher first. That way you got the debuff active, you got his burst effect active. Then go C65. I know it does take up a turn of his BT effect, but if you want to have that C65 active, go for it. And then afterwards, go into his LD. And then after you go into his LD, you should have a free skill usage available. And then you go right into his burst phase, and then use the free skill usage on either skill 1 or skill 2. And then EX or LD, and pretty much it's pretty self-explanatory how you want to go from there once you've set up prior to his BT phase. But that's all in all going to conclude my video for the Art of Laguna. Hopefully this helps you guys prepare for his upcoming upgrades that he will be getting soon in Global Opera Omnia. This is 40 the Broadway Saiyan signing out. Mahal, everyone.